and welcome back to another What I Watched Last Week. There may be a few extra days this week as I think about 9 or 10 days worth of what I watched. I will try and get through it as quick as possible though, guys. But before I do my What I Watched this week, can I first of all congratulate Joe from Geeky Hijinks channel on his recent engagement with his beautiful partner, Cynthia. They're on holiday, they got engaged on the beach. If you follow them on Instagram, no doubt you've seen the photographs. I'm so happy for you guys, you're a beautiful couple, just really buzzing. So congratulations guys. So let's get cracked on. We will get the little letterbox down the side as usual. So I'm going to go back to the 14th of July with you. And first of all, a movie called Press Play. Now, I am very aware that this may be someone's cup of tea. I don't know why I do this. Occasionally I watch a romantic comedy that I enjoy. This one was okay, but it was trying to take from too many different other movies. It's called Press Play. So Laura and Harrison have the picture-perfect romance built on the foundation of shared love of music. After a deadly accident, Laura gets the chance to save the love of her life as she discovers that their mixtape can transport her back in time. So yeah guys, mixtape, do you remember those days? So he has made her a mixed cassette, yes, the days of cassette, of songs that are their songs, remind him of her, whatever. And when he passes, she finds it when she plays this cassette in a Walkman that it will transport her to specific moments in the past before obviously he has died. And she needs to try and convince him of what she's saying, which obviously sounds a little bit crazy. And it's, can she save his life? So that's the premise of that one. I think if I'd been a teenage girl, I probably would have loved it. It just had so many tropes and so many moments, but it was okay. I've seen worse. I'd say it's average. I give it a 2.5 out of 5. Next, Valley of the Dead. Okay, so this is the latest zombie movie on Netflix. So this is set, I think, during the Spanish Civil War. It follows soldiers on both sides of the conflict, but there is something a little bit more serious to be worrying about. As we said, zombies. It's called Malnutels. It's Spanish. It is a pretty decent, solid little watch. I saw a review recently on Geek Legion of Doom on Leo's channel for this, which is a really in-depth review, which I will link for you to check out, because obviously I just touch on things. I don't really deep dive. But yeah, it was a solid enough little zombie movie. A couple of characters start off really, as Leo said, really irritating, and you're thinking, I can't bear these characters, but they do really grow on you as the movie progresses. I would say if you enjoy your typical horror zombie movie, check this out. You could do a lot worse. I did think it was pretty decent. I give that a 3 out of 5. 16th, Brian and Charles. Okay, I have Jamie Powell to thank for this one. So this stars, I have to go down, David Earl. You will probably know him from shows like, I believe he was in Derek, the Ricky Gervais show, and he was also in Afterlife with Ricky Gervais also. So this is a British movie. This has very limited release in cinemas. Now, I was lucky enough, I was in Belfast, taking Isaac to Forbidden Planet. This was shown in a nearby cinema, so I checked it out. This will not be everyone's cup of tea, but if you like quintessential British niceness, you will enjoy this. This follows a character called Brian. He lives alone in Wales, very isolated existence, quite lonely, very awkward. He's an inventor and he makes things, quite silly things generally. So he makes this robot called Charles from the body of a washing machine and some other bits. And weird enough for him, this robot comes to life. And this is a movie about him, his life, his struggles, his loneliness, and his friendship with this robot, and the potential doors that Charles the robot could open for him in his life. It's a lovely movie. As Jamie said, it won't be everyone's cup of tea, but the people that it's aimed at will love it. It's just such a refreshingly nice watch. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. I think I gave that a 4 out of 5. Yeah, I gave that a 4 out of 5. So as I say, it's in cinemas at the moment, selected cinemas, but I'm sure it will be streaming soon. You can check that one out. On the same evening, I watched Savage Land. I have to remind myself what this is. Oh yes, this was actually one that was recommended by Horror Flicks with Nick. Really like the sound of this. It's found footage. When a small town near the Arizona-Mexico border is wiped out overnight, suspicion falls on the lone survivor, but a roll of photos the survivor took that night tell a different story. So this basically follows the story of what happened at like a massacre, and the photographs that this guy has, people pointing the finger at him and him saying, look at these photographs. This guy has barely spoken since the event. He's interviewed in prison. It's a decent little found footage movie. I didn't love it. I think I was quite tired when I watched it, so maybe that may have played into it. I gave it a 3 out of 5. It was decent. It will appeal to people that like the found footage genre. So Aaron from Screen Stars, if you haven't seen Savage Land, check that one out. So on the 17th, I watched Corridor. This was quite interesting. Now, I'm trying to remember what language this was in. Sweden, so it's Swedish. So, lonely medical student Frank is pleased with his flat, a quiet place to focus on his coming exams. But when he meets the girl upstairs, the intrusive Lottie, he realises that something is wrong with the place. So I'm not going to read any more. So this basically follows this young guy, very happy to be in his own company. Doesn't really want neighbours, especially intrusive neighbours, reminds me of myself. And this girl is a bit, she's there on day 1, she wants to borrow something, she's there on day 2, she's borrowing something else, she walks into his house when he tells her to wait at the door, but she has a partner that Frank is a bit suspicious of. Things are happening that he's a bit suspicious of, and this is like almost like a mystery coupled with a drama, coupled with a thriller, I suppose. So yeah, I don't really want to say much more about the premise. It is a decent little movie. I did enjoy it. What did I give it? A 3 out of 5. So rule of thumb is if I give something a 3 out of 5, it means I did enjoy it. Anything more than that, I really dug it. So yeah, Corridor. On the 18th, right, Bastille Day. This is actually, I think, called The Tech, when it was re-released. The story behind this is Idris Elba's in this. This movie was completed just before the actual real terrorist attacks on Bastille Day in France a few years ago. This obviously was immediately pulled and wasn't released because it's called Bastille Day and it's about a terrorist bomb attack. So it was a little bit too close to the mark. Now, it was renamed and it's been released later, but really under the radar. I think it came out in 2016. But this is not your typical sort of like terrorist attack. It's more of a cop, I suppose, thriller, a whodunit, trying to get to the bottom of a group of people that are carrying out attacks for a specific reason, but we're not talking to the level of the actual terrorist attack that we had in France. They did remove it for the title and obviously the implications, but there is no similarity, no tie between it. It's okay. I think I give it a 3 out of 5. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Maybe I was a bit kind. Maybe I should have given it a 2.5. I think I enjoyed it. The acting was good. The effects were good. I'm just not really an action movie kind of girl. But it was decent enough. If you like that kind of thing, you'll probably enjoy it. Okay, so on the same evening, I watched The Echo. Let me remind myself what this was about. Okay, so this follows a prisoner who's recently been released from prison. His mother has passed away and he is going to live in her apartment. There is a neighbour. Again, we've got an apartment and a neighbour. There seems to be domestic abuse going on next door. The wife comes and knocks on his door for help, but then things start to get a little bit creepy, a little bit otherworldly, a little bit paranormal. So he is trying to investigate what exactly is happening here, what's happening to this woman. He's trying to intervene, he's trying to help her. Yes, he's just been released from prison for an offence, but we get to know he's a good guy. He actually took the flak for someone else when he was in prison. So he's just trying to get about his life. He's trying to reconnect with a woman that he was close to before he went inside. He's trying to get his life together. And everything that's happening in this set of flats, in this apartment, just start to shake his life up a little bit. I enjoyed this. I thought it was really good. 3 out of 5. I would recommend. So on the 19th, so I think we've got now to the start of last week, the 19th, Watcher. Now this is one a lot of people have been talking about, and it's been on my list for a while to check out, so I'm glad I finally got to watch it. So this follows Julia. She moves with her husband and my brain is not telling me where. Is it Bucharest? Is it Budapest? Can't remember. So this movie follows her move with her partner who has work in this city. She's faffing about, not much to do, and she notices someone across the way has a bit of an interest in her and keeps staring at her, is watching her. Everywhere she goes, he seems to be following, he seems to be there, she seems to see him. She alerts the police, but it very much, the question is she watching him or is he watching her? Because he seems to be of the opinion, every time I look around, this woman's here looking at me, she's of the opinion that he's watching her. So it's a bit of a creepy sort of psychological drama thriller. We're trying to get to the bottom. Is it all in her mind? Has she convinced herself this guy's watching her when really she is, you know, the person following him? So really interesting. I enjoyed it. I thought it was really well acted. Give it a 3 out of 5 again. Possibly I should have given that a little bit more than a 3, but I would recommend. It's definitely well worth a watch. On the 21st, this was really good. Now this is a true crime documentary on Netflix at the moment, Indian Predator, The Butcher of Delhi. Uncovering the details of gruesome killings, people who were at the epicenter talk about what went down. This shows you how different the law is in India to what we would be used to. This follows a individual that has been done wrong. It's very, like, corruption amongst the police and prison officers is rife in India. The police will actually beat suspects to get confessions out of them on a regular basis, and they will even threaten to do this with TV cameras there, so it's not a secret thing. So these bodies are being dumped in front of a specific prison in India, in Delhi. They have their heads cut off, their arms cut off, and their legs cut off, I think from the knees and elbows down. Basically, no identifying marks are left. And all these, I think the statistic was every year in Delhi, 50 unidentified bodies. There are 50 unidentified, like, murders. We don't even know who they are, never mind who did it. So these bodies keep showing up. There's 3 that we follow in particular. They're trying to get to the bottom of who's done this. My brain's saying to me, when that first body was dumped outside there, did you maybe think to put CCTV up on the front of the prison? On the second one, still no CCTV. Then the third one was dumped. So this follows the the inept police investigation to find out who did this. We find out who did it. And we talk to a lot of people that know the individual from his village, and we get his entire background and his entire life story. Really, really interesting documentary. If you like true crime, would recommend. So that's on Netflix, Indian Predator, The Butcher of Delhi. I watch some questionable stuff, folks. So on to the 22nd. This is a Spanish movie, The Passenger, La Pasajera. That's terrible pronunciation, Lisa. So this is a weird one. This is maybe not what it seems. If you even read the actual synopsis, it doesn't really cover what we're talking. It's just weird. 4 people travelling in a van run over a lone woman while she is walking in down a dark country road. After loading her into the vehicle to take her to the nearest hospital, they notice she's behaving rather strangely. The occupants of the van soon realise that the time has come to fight for their lives. And together they agree on one very simple rule: do not sit next to her. Right, I don't remember that last bit of do not sit next to her. This woman has something more going on than she's been hit by the car. And obviously what she's got going on is going to start to affect the other people in this van. We get to know their individual personalities. It's really interesting. We have a young girl, we have her mother, we have like an aging ex-matador driving who's got like a really interesting backstory and personality. And we have another woman travelling on her own. The sort of like character development's really good in this. We get to know all the individuals, and I really felt I knew the individuals in this, but outside of this, very well acted, very well crafted, very believable relationships forming between these people as they travel. It just gets really weird. We find out we never really find out the reasoning as such for everything that's happening, but there's a lot of special effects here. There's a lot of like things that will make you go, oh, that's absolutely disgusting. There's a lot of body horror in this. It's interesting. I would definitely recommend that you check it out. 3 out of 5 for that one. I'm being vague. I don't want to give any more information. On the 23rd, I watched Too Old for Fairy Tales. Now, I was keeping this for Isaac to watch because when I read the synopsis, I thought you need to watch this. And then I figured out it was subtitled. There's in no life is he going to watch a subtitled movie. And I don't know what language it was, Polish I believe. Okay, I've had to cut what I was saying because I started reading the synopsis and it makes absolutely no sense. There's a real earthquake? Heh, no. So this film follows a young boy called Waldeck. He's maybe about, I don't know, 12, 13, that sort of age. He's addicted to gaming. All he wants to do is game. He has partnered up with two other lads and they're going to be taking part in this gaming competition. Something happens in Waldeck's life that changes everything. His mum has to go away for a while and her sister, his crazy aunt, comes to look after him. She wants to teach this young boy a few lessons. She teaches him how to do things for himself that he doesn't normally do, like cook. She teaches him to bake. She gets him out and exercising, and he hates every moment of it. He's a lazy, young, typical young boy. He's my son, who just wants to game and not much else, and most young lads that age. So this movie, he learns a lot of lessons, he grows up an awful lot. It's like a coming of age tale, but it's pretty realistic. Now, the only thing I would say that I thought was quite close to the bone in this, that a lot of people may have issue with, he is overweight. And there's a lot of emphasis put on that in places. His aunt keeps trying to get him out to run and to cycle to lose weight because he's just sat on his backside basically, and his mum spoils him, gives him chocolates, gives him whatever he wants. So that might be a bit, I know some people don't really like to see that form of like judgment on certain things, so just a warning about that. But I felt it was really heartfelt. The young lad's acting is superb, believed his character from start to finish. Really heartfelt scenes in this as well. I absolutely love this. So too old for fairy tales, I give it a 4 out of 5. Would thoroughly recommend. It's on Netflix at the moment. And last of all, the most dangerous animal of all. So I started watching this last night. I haven't watched all of it. It's a series. Starting off really interesting, but it's one of those very in-depth, quite long-winded. This follows a man, Gary L. Stewart. He's adopted. He sets off to find his birth parents, his biological parents. He finds his mother. He finds a really freaky story behind how he was brought into existence and who his father is. And potentially, he believes that his father, well, it's in the synopsis, he believes his father's the Zodiac killer. But at the minute, we've just really started with him finding his mum giving a story about how she met his dad, how he came to be, how he was given up, and a bit about his father's character. That's where we are at the moment, but it's going to go down the line of him believing, just stop that, his father is the Zodiac killer, which is quite scary. So that is on Disney Plus, and it was Martin from Trash Picture Show that actually made me aware that was on, so thank you very much, Martin, if you're watching this. So I've just wrote 3 other things down. No, I haven't. I wrote 2 other things down on here that I've been watching which aren't logged. One of them is a series I love about glass blowing called Blown Away. It basically is a competition where all these people are given specific like subject matters each week, and they have to make a glass display or glass ornament, whatever, to actually represent whatever subject they've been given. And I love it. I don't know why, I just really enjoy it. That one's on Netflix. It's the 3rd season, so if you like that kind of thing, I'm binging it at the minute. And lastly, I started watching a documentary on Disney Plus. Frustratingly, there's only 2 episodes on there. I think there are supposed to be 4, so I'm waiting and hoping the rest pop up. Initially, this was released on Hulu. It's called Keeper of the Ashes. This is a true crime documentary about the murder of 3 young Girl Scouts in their camp, I think 1986. Really, really disturbing stuff. As I said, there's only 2 of the episodes at the moment, so what I've watched so far is really in depth, really interesting. One of the camp leaders, I would be so angry as the parents of the children. She gets up in the middle of the night and hears something in the bush that sounds a bit like a growl to her, but she said like a mixture between a growl and a moan. She didn't know what it was, but she was too frightened to go to investigate, so she went back to bed. And that same night, these 3 young girls were murdered. So I would not have been best pleased as a mother of one of those children. And what's heartbreaking also, one of the young girls that's killed, she didn't want to go, and she said to her parents before, I really don't want to go on this trip. And they said to her, you'll be fine. They're trying to push her out to do things to widen her horizons, and they say, if you go and you hate it, contact us and we'll come and get you. And she goes, and the only letter she sent home said how much she hated camp. And obviously you had to wait for the postal service. It's back in 86. We don't have mobiles to be texting each other. And that young girl loses her life. So how her parents live with the fact that they made her go and she hated it, and that's what happened. It's heartbreaking as a parent to even think about that. So yeah, that's what I've been watching this week. Do you need to know what game I've been playing? Can you guess? Yes, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I'm a completist, guys. I like to get as many, like, as close to 100% completion with the trophies as I can. I've discovered that to get the completion you have to buy several like add-ons to the game, and I was so over the moon to discover you could buy like a Druid Ireland pack. So at the moment I'm in Ireland with my Vikings, going to visit like where I live, and the actual scenery is so accurate. Obviously it's set a lot of years ago. We don't have industrialisation. Everything's like the olden times, but the cliffs and everything in Ireland are perfect. So I'm able to scout about where I'm from, like the north coast of Ireland, and it just looks beautiful. So yeah, I'm loving that. I've finished the main storyline in Ireland. I'm going around finding my treasures, my mysteries, solving all this stuff, fighting druids. So it's great. I'm loving it. I am aware that I'm sure God of War Ragnarok has just come out, or at least the pre-order for it just come out, and I'm waiting for my birthday or Christmas. It's going to kill me because that's December. But yeah, that's the next big one on the horizon for me is God of War. So yes, guys, that's what's going on. Can't think of anything else of any interest to tell you, so thank you so much for watching as always, and I shall be back next week with another What I Watched. Overnight from Lisa Lives.